So what about this Ben and Jerry's campaign? I caught up with this yesterday. I was just sort of looking around thinking, this is strange. And I saw that Bob McCoskrie had commented on this and it sort of chucked it out there. Just if it's a hot day and you're thinking about having an ice cream, then check out this campaign. Bob joins us now. G'day, Bob. Nice to have you on the program.
Good morning, Duncan. I'm not sure if I'm jealous or glad I'm not with Sean at the moment. I mean, I'm kind of jealous that he's experiencing all this, but it sounds a little bit scary, doesn't it?
Well, he's the only New Zealand journo. Well, he's the closest New Zealand journo to the action there by a long way. So, and he was right right under the wall that separates Israel and Gaza. So he's close as you can get. Yeah. Well, we'll have a chat to him after 9. But what do you make? Tell us about this Ben and Jerry's campaign. What do you make of it?
Well, I saw the post where they talked about the fact that they supported abortion providers, and I thought, gee, that's a little bit weird. That's kind of really out there, and it was obviously upsetting a lot of conservatives in the United States because Ben and Jerry's is kind of a bigger product over there. To be honest, I've never been into a Ben and Jerry's, and after what I found out, I will never go into a Ben and Jerry's. And I was actually surprised when I investigated. I mean, one of our concerns about this whole go woke, these businesses going woke, is that people are just getting a little bit sick of being served up with woke leftist ideologies as they buy goods. I mean, if these businesses want to privately support certain causes, well, they should maybe just do that, but not ram it down publicly and when they're promoting goods. And Duncan, the more I investigated Ben and Jerry's, I realised just how left-wing activists they are, and I'll give you examples, but just the one that you saw was where they posted, today is National Abortion Provider Appreciation Day. We stand with abortion providers today and every day, and apparently abortion care providers are being threatened across the country. This is in the US, and this is why we need to stand with them today and every day. So... That was
we stand. So they're saying that they stand for killing babies. I mean, I mean, why would you as a business go in public on that?
Well, I'll tell you why they have, because they've been very left-wing propagandists for quite a long time. I had a look back into 2021. They announced that they were going to no longer sell to certain areas of Israel. Talking about occupied Palestinian territory. They goaded Trump supporters with a pecan resist flavour in 2018. And of course, pecan resist is based on Barack Obama, one of his statements. And then in 2020, they partnered with Colin Kaepernick. Some people have heard of the quarterback Colin Kaepernick, who refused to stand for the national anthem. And then they've even supported defunding the police. They have, during the Black Lives Matter riots, they were sending food to the rioters in Seattle. They have pledged allegiance to the climate justice and Planned Parenthood. On the 4th of July, they messaged by saying the United States was founded on stolen Indigenous land. They lobbied for Kamala Harris's presidential campaign, even released a new flavour called Kamala Coconut Jubilee. Sounds a bit racist, doesn't it? And then in January, when after Trump was sworn in, they went into all-out resistance mode, launching direct action against fascism to oppose
Why don't
Trump.
they start a political party? Why don't they just start a party? Start a lobby group or a party. I mean, that's what they are. Well,
exactly. I mean, no different to certain media like Radio New Zealand and the New Zealand Herald as well. They basically are no longer reporting stuff. They are just campaigning on certain issues, and we saw that with a protest yesterday against 4 puberty blockers, and the media wouldn't actually allow discussion on it on their Facebook page. Look, that was a slight segue from ice cream, but this is what we've done.
You make the point. It's so fine.
Well, I'm just making the point that in the culture at the moment, the left really doesn't want to get into a debate. They just want to ram down their view, and any chance for a debate, they shut down comments. We see that on a lot of social media. and I see that Ben and Jerry's was getting a lot of pushback because a lot of people weren't buying into it. They wanted to buy ice cream from the store, and what they were getting was wokeness and left-wing ideology shoved down their throat, and people are just getting sick of it. And I think they'll struggle. Oh, by the way, the latest update, I don't know if you saw, is that the CEO, they're actually in court. The owners of Ben and Jerry's, they're owned by Unilever, which is a big company that owns about 400 businesses or something.
That's Luxon's old business. Luxon was the CEO of that. That's his old business. It is. He was the CEO of there. It's true.
Well, that's a small word. That's very interesting. So Unilever have sacked the Ben and Jerry's CEO because of his devotion to various liberal causes. And the latest thing that upset Unilever was because Ben and Jerry's were supporting the Palestinian Hamas activist Mahmoud Khalil, who Trump is trying to throw out of the country because he's been stirring up violence in universities, or that's the claim. And apparently when Ben and Jerry, the founders, sold their company to Unilever back in 2000 for $326 million, they negotiated an arrangement where the ice cream liberals would be allowed to continue their liberalism. But now Unilever aren't too keen on it. And so, they're in court in Manhattan.
When was that negotiated?
As we speak.
When was that negotiated? When was that deal negotiated?
So that was 2000, way back in 2000. So
I wonder where, that's where Luxon was there.
Yeah.
I wonder
That'll
if he
be funny.
negotiated
I'll
that.
do a bit of investigation on that. You've piqued our interest now, Duncan.
It wouldn't surprise me with him.
Story.
We may have. Yeah, we may not have. But, hey, but you, I mean, I know what you're saying. There's much wider thing at play here, and I've looked at these corporates for a number of years now, and they haven't read the room. They haven't realised that there's a change in thinking. They haven't realised that there's a huge amount of pushback on this. It's a bit like the Nuhaka school throwing the school lunches out. I was always taught by my parents: when people fed you, you ate it, and you shut up and ate it and thanked them. You don't throw it out and throw it at people's faces. And I just think there's this whole push at the moment, a push back on this. And some of the comments I'm getting on my podcast, and certainly here at the platform, is really strong, real strong pushback. The conservative New Zealand, I think, is waking up.
Well, and I'm not quite sure whether it's fully got into the public service yet, because I've actually just put out a Substack and McBlog today about MB, Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment, where they are running courses basically ramming down DEI and LGBTQ, teaching the lingo, teaching about personal pronouns, and even talking about rainbow lanyards as a taonga, and that by wearing a lanyard you agree to behave in a certain manner. I mean, it's just like schoolboy, school teacher talk. Yeah, it's amazing. But 2 weeks ago I also did one on MFAT, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade, where they too were ramming down some of this woke virtue signalling, and they had their ambassadors going around the Pacific Island nations promoting abortion and LGBTQ. As a result of that, McBlog, Winston Peters, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, actually sent a bit of a serve to MFAT saying, hey, you need to get rid of some of this woke stuff. Interested to see if they actually do it. So there is a pushback happening, but of course these are the stories that you won't see the legacy media go anywhere near because it doesn't suit the narrative.
Well, they're too scared to, because one, is not what they're talking about in the newsrooms, and two, they think that their idea of tolerance is to be intolerant of people with other views. So if you don't follow, then I've been in these newsrooms for 30 years, Bob, and it's a real narrative, and it's worse now than ever. But no one's reading the room here, you see, because if they were to look at who's thriving and who's surviving in terms of media, and they're looking at where some of this debate's gone, they would open up a bit more. They would open up some of this stuff. Comment. I mean, I shut no one down. I take any calls, and on the podcast, anyone can comment. That's a very minimum. Plus, I'll do the angles, and I will do all angles, and we'll do all stories. It's that is strange to a newsroom these days.